And now I would like to introduce to you one of our 2015 college graduates and member of Cohort 3, Mr. Bisrat Gebre.
Thank you for that wonderful intro, Shar. And thank you everybody else for being here. So when I look back on my life, Rainier Scholars is the most important thing that's happened to me. And that's a statement that I believe with all my heart. I was born in Ethiopia, and I moved to America when I was 8. Back in Ethiopia, I lived with my uncle, my mom, my dad, and my older sister. My grandfather migrated to America when my mother was 5. And once he had a stable living condition here, he began the process of bringing my whole family to the United States. On January 25, 2000, we all moved to America. And when we arrived at my grandfather's apartment, I asked, "Wow, he owns this whole building?" It was a large apartment complex, and everybody laughed, but I didn't get the joke. See, in my head, America was this wonderful place where everybody lived in their own individual skyscrapers and used money like toilet paper. So it was a shock when we walked into the 3-bedroom apartment where the 8 of us would live for the next 2 years. My parents started work immediately. My father took on 2 jobs. He would wake up at 4 a.m., go to his job at Hospital Central Services, which is an industrial laundromat where they clean all the hospital linens for the area hospitals. And he would come home at 2:30, take an hour nap, and go to his second job as a janitor at King County. And now he's done that for about 15 years. My sister and I, we attended elementary school where we were supposed to learn English, but I learned more from watching cartoons on TV than going to school. And the only thing I really remember is being asked repeatedly to spell the word vacuum, which I don't think I can do to this day. I think that's why math was my favorite subject, because 2 + 2 will equal 4 in any language. So when Rainier Scholars came knocking in 5th grade, I don't think I quite understood the impact that this program would have on the next 11 years of my life. I'd like to say that I hated the first summer, waking up at 7 a.m., getting home at 5 p.m. with 3 hours of homework Monday through Friday. But the truth is, I enjoyed that time. I remember one day, we started talking about what we would be doing if it wasn't for Rainier Scholars. And I didn't say anything because, well, my answer was nothing. I had nothing better to do. My family never went on vacations. I didn't have a friend's house that I would go to regularly. But it was still my favorite summer of my childhood because I felt like I'd found direction and purpose, and I got to experience that with a peer of my cohorts that had the same drive to be successful. Through my years of switching schools, middle, high school, and college, I was constantly changing friends, but I've always had my cohort by my side for well over a decade now. Rainier Scholars did 2 very important things for us. Well, for me personally, the first was giving me confidence in my intellectual ability. And the second was providing me with avenues in which to use those abilities. After I finished the 14-month program, I felt accomplished. So accomplished, in fact, that I thought the hard work was over. Without the day-to-day interaction with Rainier Scholars, my academic performance started to falter. I didn't seek out academic challenges, but instead I often did the necessary amount just to get by. And I was never the ideal scholar, and to this day I look back on all the opportunities I've squandered away, but Rainier Scholars never gave up on me. I did not take advantage of all the opportunities I was offered until about my sophomore year at Wazoo. At that point, the light bulb finally went on. Everyone has a learning curve, and mine was a bit slow when it came to maturity. But I finally decided, as a young adult, to fully utilize the resources offered by Rainier Scholars. My first step was taking advantage of a professional networking program that we call C3. It's where scholars are able to connect with professionals in their area of study, and we learn from them, ask them, and pick their brains about their experiences. I met with several professionals, and they shared some advice for a career in business and finance. My first meeting was with Xander Dorowski, and thank God Xander is close with Rainier Scholars, and he knew me a little beforehand because I did not leave a very good first impression. I arrived late. I forgot to bring up my parking pass, which he gave me direct instructions to do in our email, and I was ill-prepared. I remember one of the questions he asked was, what are the big four accounting firms? And I couldn't even answer that. And I was so embarrassed, but I learned from that experience, and since then I've never forgotten to get my parking validated. But my favorite connection from the C3 experience was Nate Ill from Goldman Sachs. I felt comfortable discussing things with Nate because he was close in age, and although he was a Husky, he had insight and experience with my current situation. I kept in contact with Nate, and the previous summer he helped me select an internship. Before I started the internship at Brighton Jones, I had only taken some basic finance classes, and I was scared that they would ask me to do things that I didn't know how to do quite yet. But Nate told me the success of the internship was contingent upon three things. The first was having a positive attitude. The second was keeping up and maintaining my professionalism at all times. And the third was getting to know my coworkers. The advice from Nate was simple and obvious, but for someone that was just starting, it was exactly what I needed to hear. The Brighton Jones experience gave me more than I could have ever given them in the 12 weeks I was there. On my first day there, I was given an initial list of projects in which to complete, and this great quote: "This is not a charity. We are investing a lot into you, and we expect our investment to pay back dividends." And this was music to my ears. I didn't want to be relegated to just doing meaningless work, and I wanted to do work that mattered. I wanted them to believe and depend on me, which is exactly what they did. And Nate, I followed your advice. I had a positive attitude. I got to know my coworkers quite well, and I only had a few momentary lapses in judgment when it came to professionalism, but I learned from those experiences, and on top of that, I was blessed to have a great boss and mentor that went above and beyond when it came to helping me grow in every aspect of my job. And I believe that was probably the most impactful part of my internship experience. See, Tyler always said, look at the bigger picture. Don't just look at what you're doing right now, but see how everything fits together. And that's not only meaningful in my professional life, but also my personal life as well. So thank you for that, Tyler. And my experience this summer has also sparked a new career aspiration. I would like to open up my own RIA firm later down the line, one similar to that of Brighton Jones, but geared towards athletes. I want to build a firm that educates athletes on wise money management and also supports comprehensive financial planning. I played sports all my life, and I was pretty good until I stopped growing in 9th grade. You know, they say, if you do what you love, you won't work a day in your life. So by combining my love for finance and sports, I think I found a great career path, and I know I still have a lot to learn in this field, but all dreams must start with an idea and a vision for what's possible. Now, as I look at the big picture in my life, here's what I know. My ultimate goal is to be able to take care of my parents for everything they've done for me throughout my life. Their hard work and sacrifice, combined with the help of Rainier Scholars, has given me a portfolio of opportunities. Rainier Scholars has invested in me, you have invested in me, and at times my stock value has dipped and my risk-reward ratio has been in question, but I am on an upward trajectory. I believe I will be an asset to my community with my college degree in hand and career aspirations in my heart, and I know your investment will pay huge dividends. Thank you.